So this is a video I've been kind of debating on, and I think it's about time we can pull back the old curtain. So let me go ahead and answer the question that a small player base, not a lot, a handful of kids, a question that they have on their minds that I've been hearing through the grapevine, so to speak, is what would the Airsoft Ministry be like in 2021? There's a small group of ASM OGs who aren't happy with the transition we made to True Aim and wish that we were still a $10 airsoft field. ASM would have most likely started going downhill about mid-fall last year, like mid-fall, late summer last year, of last year being 2020. I will caveat by saying there is a piece to this story that I will have to leave out for professional reasons. But if you want that piece, it's only available in person. I'm not going to DM it to kids. I'm not going to put it in a video. I'm not going to talk to you on Discord about it. The only way to get that missing piece is to talk to me face to face and in person. Now, I say that Airsoft Ministry was going to start going downhill last year, about mid-late last year, I was looking to step away from Airsoft Ministry, and I wasn't the only staff member. Keep in mind, Airsoft Ministry pre-COVID was getting like 160 in a day low end. It was not uncommon for us to get 200 players, 220 players. That was common, meaning it happened in great frequency. Plus, we were still doing birthday parties on Saturdays for a lot of stuff, and Saturdays were like specialty event day that I mostly did. So if you did a tournament at the Airsoft Ministry, solid chance it was done on a Saturday because Sunday was our main player day. And you've got to keep in mind, all of that was managed by predominantly about 5 of us, really about 4 adults, myself, Ethan, Alex, and Daniel. We had some teenage helpers come and go, but once they hit about senior year, they were gone. Or even in some cases like mid to late junior year, they were gone. But we were not really getting a big influx of consistent volunteers. So it was really mostly managed by the 4 of us, with sporadic help here and there. Realistically, I was looking at leaving the airsoft space as a whole, with the exception of maybe like some KWA projects here and there and like some business level stuff here and there. But for the most part, I was looking at getting out of airsoft completely about middle of last year, just because it was quickly just not becoming worth my time anymore. What was I getting out of it? I'm in my mid-30s. Playing is cool, but what else is there for me to do as an adult? I'm not making any money off of it. So what am I doing? What am I? It's fun. Learning about marketing is fun. Learning about social media is fun. So I was going to take that into some sort of marketing job, or learning those marketing skills, or taking those marketing skills and take them to my firearms training business and, some stuff like that. But for the most part, I was looking at getting out of airsoft almost entirely. I'd say about 80 to 90%. It wasn't fun for me anymore. It was just a job. I will say that the one thing that did keep me going in the Airsoft Ministry, as long as I had been in, was a sermon by a man named Francis Chan, where he speaks on the ministry of suffering, meaning ministry work, no matter what it is, ministry work as a whole is not supposed to be easy, because the sacrifice Christ made wasn't easy. So ministry work is designed to be a challenge and a test. So when I'd have some kid complain about something, or some dad complain that some kid dressed up like some black ninja with a scuba tank on his back would, shoot him one too many times, yeah, man, I just didn't want to be there anymore. Why? Except for that one piece of that sermon where I would remind myself, hey man, this is a test. And if we leave, we're going to burden our fellow ministry workers. I'm going to burden Ethan, Alex, Daniel, the volunteers. I'm going to burden a lot of people by me stepping out. But even after a while, it just didn't hold weight with me anymore, man. I was burned out. I was burned out of the Airsoft Ministry. Once we reopened from COVID in about April, May 2020, we were quickly back up to about 100 to 120 players on Sundays and about 80 or so, 60 to 80 on Saturdays, which is kind of what we're still at. But dude, it was all just too much, and I just shut down. If you saw me in 2020 on the field, reffing, wearing an Airsoft Ministry hoodie or a jacket, or you saw me on the field, it's probably about an 80% chance I was not happy, and I did not want to be there at all because I was burned out. You don't understand the involvement that we had in that field. We're fixing rentals. I'm coordinating social media events. I'm working with vendors. Before I came on, Airsoft Ministry was buying things retail. They were just going to AEX and buying whatever they needed. New rental guns, this, that, and the other. So I came on with my business permits through my company, got the G&G thing, got the e-bike thing, started saving them a lot of money, came up with a lot of specialty events, and just brought like this whole new breath of fresh air, so to speak, or this new innovation, or this new chapter in excitement in the Airsoft Ministry, and I ran a lot of it. Me and Ethan did a lot of event management, promotion, a lot of that stuff. Daniel worked a lot of the field as far as the construction. Alex did a little bit of everything. He did a lot of the field construction. He was handling a lot of the acquisition stuff and doing a lot of the behind the scenes logistics stuff. It was a lot for us to do. And it got to me, man. 4 years of effectively having a full-time job where you're not getting paid is gonna burn you out, especially with airsofters, who are some of the worst complainers. Around July or August of 2020, we had a staff meeting, and most of us sort of agreed we kind of felt the same way to a degree. I was probably the one who was the most burned out, but not by much. And there was a conversation that took place about either shutting it down or going to once, maybe twice a month. But there was a conversation that did involve us stepping way back as far as what we were doing and really decreasing the frequency of what we were going to do. We had also had an idea that what if we leased it from the church and managed it the way we wanted to manage it, and we were in charge of the finances so we could make sure that we can buy things when we need to buy things, and we can stay ahead of the game, and we could make it just this great experience or this great field for people. That was the option we all wanted to go with, but stepping away was a real conversation that was had, and it came close. In about late summer, probably about August 2020, we'd got all of our paperwork together. We had spoken with lawyers, Leighton Lawyer. We got our business permits filed, our articles of incorporation filed with the state of California, their state secretary office. We got the thing going. But the one piece that we really needed was for our church elders to sign off on it and to approve it. That was the fork in the road for me. I was either going to go hard right, and we were going to go forward and do this thing and set up shop and turn it into a thriving business, or I was going to make a sharp left and I was out. That was the determining factor. I was either going to stay or I was going to completely leave. You probably would have never really heard from me again. And I was not the only one that had this plan. For a lot of us, whether the Council of Elders was going to approve or disapprove our plan to go forward as a business was really going to determine how the rest of the Airsoft Ministry was going to be managed for seemingly the future. Now, you have this backstory. We can go back to the original question of what would the Airsoft Ministry be like in 21. It probably wouldn't be around. I wouldn't be there, several other members would not be there. It would have either been shut down entirely or a watered down version of its former glory. But this Blue Magic $10 grade airsoft field where there's all this cool stuff happening, that was not going to be a thing in 2021. That was probably not going to be a thing starting from about late fall, early winter of 2020. But we weren't really open about that. We kind of wanted to keep a lid on that. We really didn't want to peel back the curtain. There's a few people that I trust that I was talking to about it just to help me cope with everything. But the average player had no concept of what was going on behind the scenes and all the struggles we were having as individuals. But if the church elders had not have approved True Aim, there would most likely be a noticeable difference for the worst with the Airsoft Ministry probably starting around about October or so. So, fast forward present day. True Aim is now a $20 field with $15 rentals and a small retail shop that's constantly growing despite the lack of inventory. And we're actually expanding our rental program. We're increasing our HPA rental program. We have currently 1 Kythera, 1 Jack. We're going to expand to about 2 of each with an option to go to 3 of each because we're constantly getting hit up for this stuff. If you're an OG ASM player, yeah, you're not going to like that we're not a $10 field, but the other option was no field at all. Sorry. We really spoiled our ASM players with, as I said, it was the Blue Magic of fields, man. It was an outstanding $10 field. Well, now it's an outstanding $20 field. Are we going to make decisions that are better from a business standpoint? Yeah, absolutely. We got a lease, we got monthly overhead to pay, but I'm still going to do my best to cater to all my edgy boys and all my Milsim tryhards to make sure that every experience you can have in Airsoft is effectively addressed. But you gotta work with me a little bit here and understand that I assumed we would lose 10 to 15 of our regulars based on the fact that they don't like change. So don't think I'm gonna go out of my way to beg 5 to 10 players max to stay when we attract new players every week who are quickly becoming regulars. If you thought that True Aim was going to be this place where we would just let you bully players that aren't as good as you, nah, you're wrong, player. That's disrespectful to them. That's a bad overall business model. It doesn't create good experiences for everyone. And even as ministry, we didn't allow that. I am still trying to find the balance between how to handle new players, intermediate players, and advanced players. And every field struggles with this, but I'm probably going to screw this up a whole lot, but hey, no one's perfect. Is there still plenty of stuff I'm hoping to improve on? Yup. Guys, listen to me. It's January, okay? It's January. It's the 27th of January. We've been really open for 27 days. Realistically, we've only been open for about 3 full weeks at full price. We're killing the game. We're doing way better than we thought we would. We still have a bunch of overhead, which I'll kind of get into in a second. But it's the first month, kids. Strap in. It's going to be fun. Calm down. The challenge for me arises by trying to figure out what all the different airsoft experiences are and trying to cater to as many of those silly little subgroups as possible, hence the 2 new fields that we're trying to make. But we still, as a company, sort of owe Ethan $12,000. We owe Ethan $12,000 as a company because that's how much he's personally invested into this field just to make it operable, just to get it off the ground and going. We owe Ethan $12,000. I'm going to say this again. We owe Ethan $12,000. Where do you think this money's going to come from? So you'll excuse me if I prioritize repaying a man with a newborn baby over trying to make 2 brand new airsoft fields. On the side note of those airsoft fields, I am hoping that once those are completed, I can address more groups of players. But here's the issue. Lumber and building materials are through plywood right now is like $45 a sheet. And it's not exactly easy to get. Building materials are so hard to get right now. we're teaming up with All Patriot just to see if we can drive down the cost for a huge group buy. That's what we're hoping, but it's so bad, two businesses have to come together to group buy building materials, and both of our fields just suffered heavy wind damage right now, so we're gonna have to pay some money to fix that. So I'm hoping those two new fields are gonna be up by either the end of February or maybe mid-March at the latest, but there's no way to tell because everything costs money. We also haven't paid ourselves. I haven't received a single cent from this company. Daniel hasn't been paid, Alex hasn't been paid, Andrea hasn't been paid, Ethan hasn't technically been paid. We've just been paying him back for what he's done in the past from like months ago. We haven't paid anyone for what we've done since the beginning of January. And I'm looking at about 30 to 40 hours a week between management level operations, like administrative stuff here in the house, trying to secure new wholesale accounts, trying to scrounge inventory from piecing things together from all kinds of different wholesalers or distributors, plus all the stuff we have to do at the field to make money. There's a lot going on. I ain't been paid yet. I do recognize the irony that I was going to leave ASM for not wanting to be a volunteer and not being paid, and yet here I am as the president and manager of a company doing 30 to 40 hours a week for this company. I haven't been paid. I recognize the irony in that. Here's the overall goal for the field. How long is this going to take? I have no idea. I cannot give you an answer on that. Thursdays right now are tournament practice. Not a speed night, tournament practice. Most fields, when they have a speed night, it's really just like 3-on-3s and 5-on-5s. You're not really, you're kind of practicing doing that, but if you're an athlete or if you've played sports before, you understand that there's way more to practice than just playing the game over and over again. There's drills, there's positional understanding, there's all kinds of stuff you got to work on. I'm putting kids in 2-on-5 scenarios or 2-on-1 scenarios, but the one gets to start wherever they want. It's a practice. Fridays are kind of like Saturday Eve, normal kind of Saturday rules, little speed field stuff, little full field stuff. Sometimes we'll jump on the side field depending on what it's looking like. Once the two new fields are up, Thursdays and Fridays will basically be like a Saturday. So a Thursday or Friday will be $15, and you can play on whatever field we have staffing for. If we all want to go to the side field, we'll go to the side field. If 10 kids want to play on the full field and 20 kids want to play on the pro field, cool, we'll split that up, and you can kind of do that because it's going to be a lot smaller and easy to manage. That's the goal. Here's the big 2 days for us, which is Saturday and Sunday. Saturdays are pro days, no rentals, and if you've chronoed 350 or lower, you can 3-round burst or binary all day, 0 MED. Now, there are players that are taking advantage of that and not exactly adhering to those rules, so there is a chance that if players continue to exploit that and don't want to play nice, we'll just take it away. I don't want to take that away. It kind of goes against my personal beliefs as a player, but if kids can't play nice, we're going to start taking stuff away. Just because we allow 3-round bursts doesn't mean you can 6-round burst someone and go, oh, it's one burst of 3 rounds. You're an idiot. You're one of the problems that we have at our field. Are we going to start cracking down on people not abiding by the rules? Yep. You spawn sweeping, you're going to get an X on your wristband. If we want, we'll just kick you out for a game. Because it's not your field. You will play by the rules. And we did create other events for you to go crazy and harden the paint in. But it's not my fault that you can't make it to those other days. Go somewhere else. Sorry, I'm doing everything I can. I'm holding guerrilla tournaments, for crying out loud. I'm letting kids full auto each other in between games. I don't care. Work with me. Please work with me, I beg of you. No, Nicholas, this is actually not geared towards you. You're being really nice. This field is for everyone who shows up, whether it's their first time at True Aim or whether they were an ASM OG for, since day one. I love you guys, but I don't care how long you were at Ministry for. That no longer holds any weight. Everyone is entitled to the same enjoyable experience, but Saturdays are designed to be a little bit more aggressive. I do want kids to go kind of hard in the paint on Saturdays, But there is this line that we have to understand that you can't cross. And if you're just feathering 3-round bursts at kids over and over and over and over again, this has nothing to do with Nicholas. If you're just like triple 3-round bursting kids, no, we can't do that. Like, oh, it's 3 rounds, but, I could shoot them 3 rounds, 3 at a time, right? Like, no, you jerk, you can't. You're the reason why we're probably going to have to take this away. And again, this is not geared towards Nicholas. Nicholas has been a very good boy lately. Sundays are for noobs. I'm outright going to say it. Sundays are for newer players and rentals. That's how they're geared. You notice we don't do a whole lot of really dynamic stuff on Sundays. That's because 80% of the people that sign up for a Sunday don't know how to respawn. We can't do an intricate, crazy game on Sundays because they don't know how to respawn. Come to Saturdays. Saturdays, we're trying to do some crazier stuff. We do have some plans for Saturdays. We're trying to get some more prop games involved. But there's this thing called availability of products. It's kind of sparse right now. Sundays are for newer players and rentals. That's why it's semi-only. But here's the issue. When someone wants to ruin the experience for others because they weren't able to make it for whatever reason for another day, that's not my problem. If you're trying to do binary on a Sunday, we're going to have a problem. If you're trying to do burst on a Sunday, we're going to have a problem. I have no problem with kicking you out. You should reread that waiver that says you can be asked to leave and not get a refund. You signed a legal document that says you agree to those rules. Just saying, read the waiver sometimes and look at what you agreed to. What I additionally find interesting, kind of hilarious, is that a field managed by a military veteran isn't milsim friendly, even though apparently I'm the only field possibly in the state of California, possibly that there is, that's made a dedicated, reoccurring, monthly milsim day. And the last time I checked, I'm the only one doing that. You guys aren't milsim friendly. I was a faction commander for a milsim event, right? Did you not read the very specific milsim day rules? Granted, those rules need some tweaking. I understand that. But what other field has milsim days where it's a guaranteed milsim style of gameplay? Who do that? We've got sniper competitions planned. I've got something called a milsim scramble planned, which is a up to, I think I have it either 8 or 10 person tournament format, basically a squad with multiple objectives, all kinds of player classes, all kinds of cool stuff, but it's my attempt at a milsim style or themed tournament. Who doing that? You tell me. Slide my DMs, tell me what other fields are doing this. I want to know because I want to know how they're successfully doing this. You know what I want? The next kid that talks to me about being a more milsim friendly field, I expect that player to be able to pass a PT test because I want more milsim friendly players. Bro, we're looking at getting suitcase bombs and probably up to 4 different rocket launchers just for our milsim day events. Not for Saturdays, not for Sundays, just for milsim day. You kids are ridiculous. What can players do to help? I need you to talk to me. Really talk to me about what's going on. What are you seeing? How could I, even if you don't know how to solve it, that's fine. Just tell me effectively what you're seeing. Not just, oh, no one's calling their hits. Like in what scenarios? Is there a certain part of the field? Is it a consistent player the whole time? If you can give me a detailed explanation of what you are seeing wrong, there's a solid chance that we can work together and fix this. Adults, I generally don't have this problem with. Parents and adults are usually pretty active on Facebook, Instagram, and emails about telling us, hey, this is what's going on. We're brand new. We don't know if this is normal, but it's not really making for the best experience for me or my kids. Cool. I can do something with that. But I can remember Discord conversations and Discord chats where players had a bad experience at All Patriot. When I had asked these players if they brought any of these concerns or issues up to the owner on his Instagram, they just sort of seemed to want to talk to each other about how terrible their experience was and then make social media posts bashing it. You know how childish that is? Granted, I understand it's literally coming from children, but you've got to tell me what's going on my field. I need specific issues. Even if you don't know how to fix them, just say, hey, there seems to be a huge problem with players not calling hits in this general part of the field. Cool. I can look at that. I can analyze it. I can change that up. I can do that. Here's what isn't helping. Your players aren't calling their hits. You got to fix that. Okay, I guess I'll just sort of figure everything out, because apparently I have this spell book that fills in all the details that I don't get from you. There are some things that have just been suggested over and over again that we logistically are not able to do or just don't want to. Vehicles, having like busted out cars on the field is 100% never going to happen. Too much of a liability for us. We will also never have a 2-story building. Do you know what's involved in that? Logistically, financially, there's permits involved. You can't just put a 2-story building together. You can't. It's illegal. You have to do all kinds of logistical steps, and it's just going to create more problems than it's going to solve, and it's just not worth it on the field. The biggest thing that's pissed me off about airsofters since I started volunteering, even at Airsoft Ministry, is it's mostly groups of young males that don't know what they want, but expect you to figure it out and have it be perfect, or it's just trash. That's it. What about what I want? I want players to follow the simple rules. I want players to stop wearing field jackets over hoodies because they're too afraid to get shot. I want you to grow up and grow some balls.
Caber, who the f*** are you, nerd?